After being teased at the version 2.1, we finally can pull for one of the most skilled business ladies in all the IPC. Jade is focused on being a sub DPS to your teams thanks to her follow-up attacks. In this video, I will talk about everything you need to know about Jade, how she works, how to build her, who is good with her, everything. So just before the video starts, don't forget to leave your like and your sub. 97% of you are not subscribed and it's totally free. So you have no excuse not to sub. We have a new video every Wednesday and Saturday, and by leaving your support, YouTube will make sure to start recommending my content more and more to everyone. All my links are in the description, and for those who want to support me even more, you can always become a member. Without any more furthers, let's now explain Jade's kit. Jade is a 5-star quantum character that follows the path of Erudition, and it's focused on being a sub DPS for your teams thanks to her follow-up attacks. On her basic attack, Lash of Riches, Jade deals quantum damage equal to percentage of her attack to a single target enemy, and quantum damage equal to a smaller percentage of her attack to adjacent enemies. So yes, she's the first character with a normal basic attack having the blast effect. When you use her skill, Acquisition Surety, Jade selects one ally and turns them into Debt Collector. While they are the Debt Collector, their speed will be increased by 30, and after they attack enemies, Jade deals one instance of additional quantum damage equal to percentage of her attack to each enemy target hit, and consumes the ally's HP by an amount equal to 2% of their max HP. If by any chance you decide to turn Jade into the Debt Collector, she cannot gain the speed boost effect, but in return her attacks do not consume her own HP. It's also worth knowing that when the Debt Collector exists on the field, Jade cannot use her skill for 3 turns, and at the start of Jade's every turn, the Debt Collector duration decreases by 1. Her ultimate, Vow of the Deep, Jade deals quantum damage equal to a percentage of her attack to all enemies. At the same time, Jade enhances her talent's follow-up attack, increasing its damage multiplier by a certain percentage. This enhancement can take effect 2 times. On her talent, Fang of Flare Flaying, after Jade or the Debt Collector attacks an enemy, Jade gains 1 point of charge for each enemy target hit. Upon reaching 8 stacks, consumes those 8 stacks to launch a follow-up attack, dealing quantum damage equal to a percentage of her attack to all enemies. This follow-up attack does not generate extra stacks for your Jade, and when it's launched, Jade immediately gains 5 stacks of Pawnless Set, with each stack increasing crit damage by a small percentage, stacking up to 50 times. And for last, on her technique, Visionary Predation, Jade will inflict enemies within a set area with Blind Fealty for 10 seconds. Enemies inflicted with Blind Fealty will not initiate attacks on allies. When entering battle via attacking enemies inflicted with Blind Fealty, all enemies with Blind Fealty will enter combat simultaneously. After entering the battle, deals quantum damage equal to 50% of Jade's attack to all enemies, and immediately gains 15 stacks of Pawnless Set. In other words, with her technique, you will start the battle with additional crit damage already. Now that we know how Jade Kit works, it's now time to talk about her traces and priorities to level up. On her minor traces, Jade will get a total of 22.4 quantum damage boost, 18% attack, and 10% effect res, helping in both your damage and also your survivability. On her first major trace, Reverse Repo, when an enemy target enters combats, Jade gains 1 stack of Pawnless Set. When a Debt Collector character turn starts, additionally gains 3 stacks of Pawnless Set. On her second major trace, Collateral Ticket, when the battle starts, Jade's action is advanced forward by 50%. And for last, on her third major trace, Asset Forfeiture, each Pawnless Set stack from her talent additionally increases Jade's attack by 0.5%, meaning that if you max those 50 stacks, you will get a total of 25% attack. For her trace priorities, you should focus on your talent first, because those are your follow-up attacks and crit damage buffs, then your ult, after that your skill, and for last your basic attacks, which are not completely useless since she will spam them while she can't use her skill. Now let's talk about Jade Eidolons for those who are willing to go as far as they can to make a deal with this dangerous lady. With her E1, the follow-up attack damage from Jade's talents increases by 32%. After the Debt Collector attacks and the number of enemy targets hits is either 2 or 1, Jade additionally gains 1 or 3 stacks respectively. On her E2, when there are 15 stacks of Pawnless Set, Jade's crit rate increases by 18% as well. Her E3 increases level of her skill and talent by 2, with her E4, when using ultimate, enables the damage dealt by Jade to ignore 12% of the enemy's target's defense, lasting for 3 turns. Her E5 increases the level of her ultimate by 2 and the level of her basic attack by 1. And with her E6, when the Debt Collector character exists on the field, Jade's quantum res pen increases by 20%, as Jade gains the Debt Collector state. Now let's talk about the best relics and planetary ornament sets you could use on your Jade. Our best insult option will be Genius of Brilliant Stars. With this set, she will get not only a 10% quantum damage bonus on its 2-piece effect, but will also ignore 10% defense when she attacks an enemy. And if that enemy has a quantum weakness, then instead of the original 10%, she will now ignore 20% defense instead. If you don't have any Genius pieces, and if you ended up farming for other follow-up units, Ash Blazing Grand Duke can also be a viable option not that far behind Genius. With this set, you will have 20% follow-up damage increase with this 2-piece, and you will also have massive attack buffs when you use a follow-up attack. Just keep in mind that it can get hard to stack this set, especially if you are playing Jade on battles with not a lot of enemies. And for last, you can always mix and match 2 pieces between the set that provide quantum damage, attack, and follow-up damage. For planetary ornaments, her best in slot if you manage to stack it will be Sigonia. This set is the definition of a stat stack, because you will get 4% crit rate just by equipping it, and every time an enemy is defeated, no matter if it's by you or by your allies, you will get 4% crit damage with a max of 10 stacks. Just keep in mind that if you play Jade on battles with fewer enemies, you will most likely never get the full value of this set. And Earth Salto can be a good alternative and will also be the best option outside Pure Fiction or in battles with fewer enemies. This set will increase your crit rate by 8%, and when your crit rate reaches 50% or higher, your ultimate and follow-up damage is increased by 15%. This set provides buffs that are more achievable and guaranteed to have with less effort than Sigonia. And for last, the most recent ornaments launch, Duran can also be used by Jade. This set will give you 1 stack every time you use a follow-up attack, and each stack increases your follow-up attack damage by 5%. Additionally, when you reach 5 stacks, it also increases your crit damage by 25%. Now that we know what sets to farm, let's now talk about the best stats you should be looking for. For the chest, crit rate. Crit damage can also be used, but since she gets a lot of crit damage on her kit, having a crit rate chest can help you achieve better stats. For the boots, attack percent. For the sphere, quantum damage, and for the rope, attack percent. For the substats, you should focus only on crits and attack. For Jade Lightcones, her best in slot will be her signature, Yet Hope is Priceless, which will increase your crit rate by 16%, while also converting extra crit damage into follow-up attack damage bonus and allowing your ultimate or follow-up attack to ignore 20% of the enemy's defense when you use a basic attack. This will always be her best in slot because of the value it provides that completely synergizes with her. If you plan on using her only at Pure Fiction, Night on the Milky Way will be your second best option for Jade, thanks to the amount of attack it offers. So if you were considering yourself unlucky to get this Lightcone before, you don't need to feel sad anymore. Her best F2P option will be the new Eartha Lightcone, Eternal Calculus, which can be considered as a weaker version of Milky Way. This Lightcone will provide you a lot of attack based on the amount of enemies you hit with your attacks, while also giving you a speed increase when you hit at least 3 enemies. Do not forget that this Lightcone can be obtained and superimposed for free just by playing the simulated universe, so you will eventually get a maximum total of 52% attack and 16% defense on its Superimposition 5. Her best 4-star Lightcone will be the Battle Pass Lightcone Today's Another Peaceful Day, thanks to its simple and straight damage buff based on the max energy, and if by any chance you ended up getting it to S5, it can compete with the 5-star Lightcones mentioned before. Other 4-star options like Genius Repose, The Day the Cosmos Fell, and The Seriousness of Breakfast can be decent alternatives while you are still trying to get the Eartha Lightcone or the Battle Pass Lightcone. And for last, if you are still on the early game, the 3-star Lightcone Sagacity will be your best option until you get something better. For Jade teams, she is a character that focuses more on being a sub DPS in a duo DPS team comps, especially with a character that can attack fast and a lot of enemies to be the Depth Collector. So here are some of my options. For a Himeko team, pair her with Himeko, Robin, and Aventurin. For a Herta team, pair her with Erta, Robin, and Huohuo. For a Blade team, pair her with Blade, Bronya or Wanmei, and Fushuan. For the IPC trio, pair her with Topaz, Robin, and Aventurin as the Depth Collector. For a Jade Hyper Carry, pair her with Tingyun, Sparkle, and Fushuan. And for a Pure Fiction team, pair her with Erta, Himeko, and Robin. So what's your opinion about Jade? Is she a valuable pull for your account? What do you think about her? I hope with this video you are now able to understand how she works and how you should build her. Share this video with everyone you know that caught her or is trying to get her. 97% of you are not subscribed, so please, it just takes some seconds of your life and that way you will be able to enjoy any future content I post. A special thanks to my members for trying to support me, and thank you so much for keeping me company. See you all every Wednesday and Saturday. Stay safe everyone, have an amazing day and good luck on your pulls.